Day 9 of reading Bibliotherapy, The Healing Power of Reading by Bijal Shah. As always, hydration. And turn your timer on for 15 minutes to establish your pattern of reading. Writing poetry, how it works. Poetry is the spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings. It takes its origins from emotion recollected in tranquility. The emotion is contemplated till by a species of reaction that tranquility disappears, and an emotion, kindred to that which was before the subject of contemplation, is gradually produced and does itself actually exist in the mind. From William Wordsworth. Poetry therapy is a form of expressive therapy that involves using poetry to promote emotional and psychological healing. It is based on the idea that reading, writing, and discussing poetry can help individuals to explore their emotions, gain insight into their experiences, and develop a greater sense of self-awareness. Poetry offers an opportunity to make a confession about something private or difficult, and often the best poems are written from the heart. It's a way to focus your mind, express your emotions, and clarify your thoughts and feelings in a creative way. Once you've written your poem, you'll find a welcome sense of calm that comes from no longer having to hold the burden of your confession. If you're not used to writing your own poetry, you may find it difficult to get started, but it will become easier with practice. The key is to let your thoughts wander and write what comes to mind. Do not hold back, let go, and allow the emotion, words, and images to just unfold. Sometimes it's easier to write it all down first before going back through what you've written and introducing the line breaks and restructuring stanzas to make your poems more coherent. But it's also okay to keep your poems more abstract. A great book on writing poetry is The Poet's Companion, a guide to the pleasures of writing poetry by Kim Adon-Zeno. It includes suggested writing themes and helpful techniques on how to deal with self-doubt and writer's block, as well as the highs and lows of writing life. I wrote the poem on page 78. We've read that. Then left it for a couple of hours before reading it to myself. The point is to take a break. This could be anything from a couple of hours to a few days, and then come back to it to see if you feel the same or different. The process felt ritualistic. With lit candles in the background as I read, I could sense the presence of my grandmothers in the shadows. My intuition spoke to me, reminding me I was not alone and that my grandmothers would always be a part of me. My mind turned to celebrated thinker Noam Chomsky's ideas on psychic continuity in the documentary Is the Man Who Is Tall Happy? Chomsky asks what happens when we cut off a branch from a willow tree that is then put into the ground and grows into an identical replica of the original tree. Is it still the same willow tree, or is it an entirely new one? Extending this analogy to humans, I wondered what happens to us when we are born. Are we simply extensions of our parents and ancestors, or are we entirely new, separate entities in our own right? It's a question that's confounded for centuries. While I read my poem that night, I thought about my grandmothers. According to Jain and Hindu philosophy, their souls would be reincarnated. So this would mark a new beginning, the birth of entirely new entities. Or would they simply live on as extension of us, her family, upon reincarnation? I did not have all the answers, but I had literature to guide me and help me find meaning in my losses. I fell into deep introspection and reflection, reevaluating what made my life more meaningful, and bibliotherapy was a big part of this introspection process. Word by word, sentence by sentence, I had processed emotion, grieved, and reoriented myself to live in a more meaningful life. I felt fulfilled, yet I knew there was significantly more to do in this space. Part of this was to spread more awareness of bibliotherapy and its therapeutic benefits to readers everywhere. Some of them may also have found comfort and healing in books, but for a large majority, the concept of bibliotherapy still remained novel and unknown. Bibliotherapy toolkit. Bibliotherapy techniques used: literary journaling, reading gratitude narratives, literary reflective practice, writing poetry. Recommended for gratitude and relief from all painful emotions. Complementary therapeutic techniques: audio journaling, affirmations. Recommended for feeling heard, understood, and self-validation, and also helpful for empowerment and motivation. Books read: Judy Blume's Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. George Eliot's Mill on the Floss. Anne Catherine's Where to Draw the Line. Toni Morrison's The Bluest Eye. Megan Devine's It's Okay That You're Not Okay. Bibliotherapy techniques applied, key takeaways and exercises. Literary journaling, key takeaways. Keep a journal of all the books you've read and the impact that they've had on you. Write down the emotions a piece of literature triggers, good or bad. Expressing unwanted negative emotions helps us to relieve them through emotional regulation. Writing about upsetting experiences has also been shown to reduce high blood pressure, lessen chronic pain symptoms, and boost immune function. Use the following process to guide you. Choose literature that you connect with. Use the Matching Reader Personality to Genre quiz on page 92 to 93 of this book if you feel stuck. Highlight, journal, and reflect. Consolidate your thoughts and feelings. Now here's an exercise. Spend 15 to 30 minutes journaling. Write whatever comes to mind. Let the words and thoughts appear on paper. Here are some prompts to help you. Childhood. What was your favorite book as a child? Prompt. What was it about this book that you connected with? Is there a part of this book that has shaped who you are now? Question 2. Was there a literary world in your childhood to which you wanted to escape? Prompt. What is it about this world that appeals? Question 3. Which book do you think should be taught to everyone at school? Prompt. Is this something you should revisit now? Now for early adulthood. This is the question, was there a book series that you binge read? Prompt. What did it feel like to lose yourself in a book? Question 5. Was there a book that you loved as a child or as a young adult? Prompt. Do you feel the same way about it, or has it ruined your memory of it? Now for reading currently. What book are you currently reading? What persuaded you to read it? Prompt. Was it the book cover or was it the blurb? Was it a recommendation from a friend? Question 7. If you were to write a book review of your favorite book, what would you write? This is the prompt. What resonated with you? Was there anything that left you slightly uncomfortable? Question 8. Do you tend to read one book at a time, or do you read multiple books at the same time? Prompt. Can you draw parallels between this answer and other areas of your life? Reading highlights. Question 9. What's your favorite comfort read? Prompt. What draws you to it? Question 10. Is there a passage from a book that you would memorize in a heartbeat? Prompt. Why? What prominence does this message have for you? Perhaps it's worth writing it out and placing it in a permanent space in your home. People. Question 11. Have you ever enjoyed gossiping about book characters? Prompt. Gossiping sometimes unearths meaningful lessons. What have you learned from these characters and their behavior? It might actually reveal something about you. Question 12. What non-fiction book has led you to discover somebody wonderful whom you had never come across before? Prompt 1. Why do you admire this person? Review. Question 13. Go back and review your journal. How do you feel about your writing? Has anything changed? Is there a familiar pattern of behavior that's repeating itself? Prompt. Reflect on what you've written and how you feel about it now. Write some action points for next steps. Literary reflective practice key takeaways. So you can also see the whole framework on page 74 of this book. Exercise. Reading and reflecting on poetry for stress relief has been beneficial for my clients. One of my all-time favourite poems for stress relief is Leisure by W.H. Davies. What is this life if, full of care, we have no time to stand and stare? No time to stand beneath the boughs and stare as long as sheep or cows. No time to see when woods we pass where squirrels hide their nuts in grass. No time to see in broad daylight streams full of stars like skies at night. No time to turn at beauty's glance and watch her feet, how they can dance. No time to wait till her mouth can enrich that smile her eyes began. A poor life this is, full of care. We have no time to stand and stare. What effect did that poem have on you? For me, the poem conjures images of springtime and facilitates a connection with nature. Yet it also feels bittersweet as it laments how quickly life passes us by and how sad it is when we are not truly living, but just passing time. It urges us to stop and reconsider our lives. The sense of sadness and emptiness it provokes makes us acknowledge the feelings held within us. It encourages us to enjoy the present moment and be more mindful. After these reflections, one of my goals was to spend more time in nature, taking in its beauty and enjoying the peace and calm that it can invoke. You can use this exercise to explore other issues by selecting a poem or a poetry collection that's recommended for the themes you would like to focus on. See Chapter 12 for poetry recommendations characterized by mental health themes. Read and reflect on your chosen poem. What does this poem bring up for you? Reading gratitude narratives, key takeaways. By reading someone else's feel-good of experiencing gratitude, feel-good story of experiencing gratitude, we are also flooded with feelings of gratitude. There is a literal activation of circuits in the brain that helps us feel more content and relaxed. Every week, fortnight, or month, or whatever frequency works for you, select a narrative or story to read where the protagonist or author expresses gratitude. This can also be a helpful exercise when you're feeling low or sad, so it might be helpful to keep an emergency to be read list of gratitude stories, especially for these moments. Exercise. Select a story or narrative where a protagonist or author expresses their gratitude. This could be a novel, a memoir, a short story, or even a poem. Reflect on how reading such a story made you feel. A helpful book on writing poetry is The Poet's Companion, A Guide to the Pleasures of Writing Poetry by Kim Adonzino. Writing poetry, key takeaways. Poetry offers an opportunity to make a confession about something private or difficult. Expressing unwanted emotions in this way relieves us so that we can move forward with clarity. Let your mind wander and write what comes to mind. Let your emotions, words, and imagery come to life. You might find it easier to first write whatever comes to mind and then structures the poem, introducing line breaks and stanzas. Exercise. Here are some suggestions to get you started with your poem if you find yourself stuck. Name the emotion you are feeling and describe it in a 4-line stanza. Talk about your fears. Talk about your losses. Talk about your dreams. Focus on a powerful image and describe it. Write about what inspires you. Complementary therapeutic techniques applied. Key takeaways and exercises. Audio journaling key takeaways. Audio journaling captures your thoughts and feelings through recording your voice. Expressing your emotions in this way allows you to release emotions that might otherwise feel stuck. You feel heard, understood, acknowledged, and validated. Physiologically, tense muscles loosen up, giving way to the physical and mental sensation of releasing pent-up emotion. You begin to make sense of what you journaled and your feelings. The important things stand out. There's more clarity than ever before. exercise. Whenever you're faced with a challenging emotion, sadness, overwhelm, anger, or fear, record your feelings and thoughts over audio using a voice recorder or similar. Play back the voice note. How does it make you feel? And there we go. That's day 9 done. Congratulations to you. Continue reading 15 minutes. Check back in every day for the updated 15-minute read of this book. Go ahead and order it. It is now in paperback as well. Bibliotherapy, The Healing Power of Reading by Bijal Shah. If you look her up and go to her website, she'll even sign the copy directly for you if you buy it from her. Wonderful idea, I think. See you all tomorrow.